can work with this. Good evening, y'all. Welcome to Cross Politic on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Pastor Toby Chalk Knox. I'm the Water Boy. Stick around. We're going to talk mortgages with Brandon Allen.
We're going to talk a lot more than mortgages.
A lot more than mortgages because, you know.
It's not the Fed's fault.
That's what he said.
It's your fault.
Well, he triggered me earlier. We're going to get to that.
I heard him. He said it was your fault, Gabe.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody.
What
This
are
is
we
Beer
cheering?
Psalm Wednesday. Cheers to the King.
Beer and Psalms Wednesday.
Beer and
Okay, I'll
Psalm
take it.
Wednesday.
This
All right.
is my black coffee beer right here.
That's not a toast. Can you toast with
Black
coffee?
coffee.
I don't know. This plug is brought to you. This show is brought to you by the Reformed Sage. This is a reminder.
Oh, that's good beer.
I got this.
Father's Day is Sunday, June 19th. I know what you're thinking. I've still got time. Well, knock it off. We all know that if you keep putting off getting your father a gift, you'll end up making a run to the local drugstore or dollar store to grab a last-second piece of crap.
It's true.
Who writes these things?
I like it. Whoever this is, he's doing great.
Not this time.
No.
This year, get your father a gift that says, I'm thankful for the patriarch of our family.
Amen.
Take that, Pride Month.
Yes.
That's funny.
This 24-ounce Stein from the Reformed Sage is the perfect gift.
How come they didn't send us all one of those?
I just sent one. Because I guess I'm the best father of the group.
Man.
Oh, what's up now?
Okay. All right.
It's laser engraved, dishwasher safe, and if you use discount code FLF22, you'll get 15% off your purchase. Visit reformedsage.com and you'll find this Stein towards the top of the page. Again, that's reformedsage.com, discount code FLF22.
Janet Yellen. Did I say that right?
You did.
I was
Yellen.
concerned because Gabe says words earlier, and I don't know if I'm saying them like him or not.
I hear you.
Janet Yellen, she said Tuesday, the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, I just said that again, she confessed that she was...
You have, no, you don't have a problem. Wrong.
She was, say it again. She was
wrong
about inflation when she said in 2021 that it was only, quote, a small risk. Janet Yellen told Wolf Blitzer that her prediction was incorrect due to unpredictable shocks to the market that she didn't actually fully understand.
Now, who's this Yellen lady?
I want to play for you what you said about inflation last year. Listen to this.
Is there a risk of inflation? I think there's a small risk, and I think it's manageable. I don't anticipate that inflation is going to be a problem, but it is something that we're watching very carefully.
Was it a mistake, Madam Secretary, to downplay this inflation risk? Did that contribute to the problems we're all seeing right now?
Well, look, I think I was wrong then about the path that inflation would take. As I mentioned, there have been unanticipated and large shocks to the economy that have boosted energy and food prices and supply bottlenecks that have affected our economy badly that I at the time didn't fully understand.
You know, I'm glad that she was able to confess that she was
Wrong.
After handing in her resignation, she was replaced.
What? She handed in a resignation?
That's what you do when you're
wrong.
Yeah.
No, she just didn't fully understand.
Oh, but she didn't hand in her resignation?
No, she didn't.
She's still a secretary?
She didn't. Toby's like, I don't care.
Well, Wolf Blitzer, who seems to have a very, very forgiving heart, doesn't seem to hesitate to ask her even more advice on inflation.
Is it going to get worse in the short term?
Well, core inflation has come down. It's still too high, but in recent reports, we have seen it move down, and that's an encouraging sign. But oil prices are high. Russia continues to wage war against Ukraine. We're trying, and Europeans are trying to address that and limit his ability to wage this war. There can be impacts on energy and food prices that, we can do everything we can domestically to control. The president has authorized historic releases of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. But we can't rule out further shocks.
Thank you. She is so boring to listen to.
Is there a red dot?
How do you get into this? Bummer.
She's like kind of like standing there like reading it monotone, and I feel like there's a red dot. Like is she
watching her?
Yeah.
Now here's a couple things here. One is the Biden administration. I want to say Obama Biden administration. They want to find any way to deflect on the real source of the problem of inflation.
Yeah,
and to be fair, if the Republicans in office, they'd be doing the same thing.
Right.
Because as we pointed out before, both the Republicans and the Democrats are currently responsible for our current inflationary problems.
Yes.
Okay. Remember in 2021, I can't believe it's already 2022, but in 2021, they passed 2 stimulus packages under the Republican administration.
Trump.
And then in 2022, they passed 1 stimulus package under the Biden administration. So you had 3 stimulus packages, all adding up to about $5 trillion worth of stimulus money.
So why would we
coming off a shutdown where they told everybody not to work?
That's right.
That's where the inflation's centrally coming from. So it's not coming from the Russia-Ukraine stuff because inflation was already spiking even before the Russia-Ukrainian war. Is that really a war?
We're not at war with Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to act like we are so we can blame it on
Well, we
them.
keep giving them money like we're at war.
Wolf Blitzer, I can't understand why he would ask her again. You were wrong about it here. What he's going to change? He's like, and then he's going to trust her answer here.
Right.
No, you need to say, I got it so bad. Everybody was depending on you to make a decision that would be wise and prudent, and you made the wrong decision. And so you need to say, you know what? I need to step back because I don't have the vision to see.
And it was a massive
miss. This
is not a simple, or a challenge to figure out. This was easy to see.
But this is a problem. We need to look at our leaders and we need to say, wait a second, our leaders are acting just like us. We are blind people who have blind leaders, and they're leading us down blind paths.
Yeah, that's right.
And part of what this is that we ourselves have modeled in our homes in the real economy, right? The economy is a home that is doing business or having a relationship with other homes. Yep. That's ultimately what the economy is. Mm-hmm. We have modeled a certain type of irresponsibility in our own budgets.
Sure. Wait, so you need to explain that. Why? I mean, isn't this the federal government's fault?
Yeah, so
isn't this Biden? This is the Republicrats.
Economy doesn't mean
exactly
right. The Republicrats did this to us.
Economy doesn't mean federal government.
What does it mean?
Economy means house law, right? That's what it means, and it's basically everything that generates in an economy. It generates from neighbor loving neighbor with certain goods and services that they make trades off of. Okay. The government doesn't have anything in that. They are not making a material that is good for another person to purchase. Right. That is our jobs as families and as homemakers.
But aren't what they're doing though is affecting us?
That's the problem. They have inserted themselves into the part of the cell that they shouldn't be in. Not just the cell, but how the market is regulated. She goes on to say, if we can control the pricing of things so that things are more expensive for folks at home, like Medicaid and Medicare and the goods of services like electricity. Yeah. They don't control when the government starts to control those things. They are not having a one-to-one parallel. So I make a good, and I'm saying I want $500,000 for this pen, and what you tell me is to go fly a kite.
Yeah,
right.
I'll make my own.
So then I go back and say I need to make a pen that Pastor Toby would purchase, either with my services going down or the product is of a value that you can say, hey, I'll pay 30 cents for that.
So you're saying like the government's like an mRNA vaccine?
I think so.
Flesh that out for us, Toby.
It's messing with the way our body's supposed to work.
Absolutely, yes.
There's a natural mechanism of immunity or whatever in the body, and you're starting to mess with the way your body naturally functions. Mm-hmm. The government inserting itself into economics is messing with what God has designed to work
order
naturally between households, families, businesses, and a free market.
And I think that go ahead, Gay, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, so if I agree with what you're saying about the federal government getting into this, it seems to me the place where we would have no problem the federal government being involved in the economy would be if a crime is committed.
Right.
Well, that's their sphere.
If a contract's broken.
Sure.
Right. Which means they need to arrest themselves.
But this is but you've done though is gotten back to the very basics of how the world is supposed to work and operate and flow. This is part of what a son of Issachar is. We need to go back and rediscover that. Son of Issachar knows who they are, they know the story they're in, and they know the word of God, so that they know how to act in the moment.
Yeah,
and we've completely forgotten the very foundations and basics of how the world works and operates.
So you want to go back to the basics.
And so, every time I think about this, I always think about Vince Lombardi. He is the one, he was
Go Packers.
Okay.
Man.
I'm a Viking dude. We don't do that.
I'm an America's team guy.
But I respect Vince Lombardi. When he would have a training camp, where's that text at? We didn't get to the inflation thing, but go ahead, go to the next one. That's it. There we go. Okay, I'm a little slow reading. Forgive me. But he would have a training camp, and he took nothing for granted. He began a tradition of starting from scratch, assuming that the players were blank slates who carried over nothing and no knowledge from the year before. He began with the most elementary statement of all. He said, "Gentlemen," holding a pinskin in his hand, he said, "This is a football."
Wait. So what does that have to do with the economy?
We have to go back for us and say, ladies and gentlemen, this is a man.
Yeah.
This is a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
They come together.
Right.
Make children.
This is a family.
This is a family.
This is an economy.
This is economy.
Yeah.
Right.
They produce goods and services. And
Not the
from
government.
that flows. And you know what? Here's something else. This is their God. Right? This is who they serve. And this is the standard in which they love each other through this economy. Right. And so the government then comes in and says, this is our God too.
Right.
And so we enforce the contracts between each other's economy.
That's really good. That's really good. I almost called you Dave.
That's fine.
Like Jason does.
Jason does, yeah.
Hey, Dave. No, but I think it's really great because I think the temptation for a lot of people is just to blame.
Right.
Blame other people. It's other people's faults. It's. I mean, everybody's blaming.
Yeah.
Conservatives and liberals.
Yeah.
It's the Russian-Ukraine war. No, it's the government. It's the feds. It's the Congress. It's Biden's fault. It's Yellen's fault. Yeah. And
no one's taking responsibility.
No one's taking responsibility.
Yeah.
It's striking as we were thinking about this. I was reminded of Deuteronomy 28. At the end of Deuteronomy 28, you have this list of blessings and curses that's been set before Israel. And after listing all the curses, and it's basically a massive economic collapse that's being described as these curses.
Yeah.
You'll plant vineyards and dress them, but you shall not drink of the wine. You will not gather the grapes. Worms will eat them. Right, that's financial devastation. You shall have olive trees throughout all your coasts, and you shall not anoint yourself with that oil. Your olive shall cast off its fruit. You will beget sons and daughters. You shall not enjoy them. They shall go into captivity. All your trees, the fruit of your land, shall the locust consume. And lists all these curses, and then at the end it says, because you did not serve the Lord your God with joy and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. I think of if anybody lives in an abundance, it's us.
That's right.
How many cars you got?
Come on.
You got heat on, you got air conditioning, you got running water, you got a job, you got all these things. And the key thing is gratitude.
Yep.
Gratitude that God made you a man.
That's
that
right.
God made you a woman. That God put you together in the covenant of marriage. That God gave you kids. That God gives you an economy. God gives you energy and health and all these good gifts. It reminds me also of Psalm 127. Psalm 127 is that psalm where you got, unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain.
Yes.
They build it. Unless the Lord keeps the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. And then he goes on to say, that you're blessed by your wife and your kids, and your kids will stand with you in the gates.
Yeah.
The Bible itself sees family and city, house, all tied together.
That's right.
You want to have a safe city? Serve the Lord. You want to have a productive house? Serve the Lord with joy. Raise your kids. They're arrows.
That's right. All right, Brandon Allen's going to join the conversation. Him and Gabe are going to have a fight, so you don't want to miss this coming up next.
Oh, boy.
Cross Politics. You got your beer? We got the psalm. More Cross Politics. Next.
Home. It's where you build your legacy, where traditions are started, seeds are planted, meals are shared, and stories are told.
We are Chris and Natalie Carpenter, owners of Story Real Estate, and our team of top agents helps people find homes in Moscow, Idaho, and around the country.
Have you thought about a move? Contact us to get connected with a top agent who shares your values and puts your family first. or reach out to us about our Moscow relocation guide.
Wherever you're looking to go, we can help you find home. Call us at Story Real Estate or visit us at storyrealestate.com and start building your legacy.
A republic is about the rule of law, not men. Armored Republic is devoted to seeing the God-given rights of free men preserved against mob chaos, criminal evil, and the jackboot of tyranny. Every purchase of body armor is another free man equipped to resist tyranny, another brother in arms, another hardened household ready to face down the wolves. Body armor is a tool of liberty, and every tool is for the purpose of working or keeping, creating or guarding, building or fighting. Join the Armored Republic. Build. Fight.
Beer and Psalms, Wednesday.
There we go.
Yeah,
Cheers to the king.
Cheers to the king.
It sure would be nice to have
we
an
go.
empty glass.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh well.
Cheers the water.
You didn't ask for it.
Oh well.
Drink it really quick
I
and
guess
then
I'll
pour the
just
beer
have,
in there.
I'll just have water.
This is Psalm 127.
Yeah.
It's got a little pep in that step. I like
Yeah,
it.
man.
That's good.
Home. It's where you build your legacy, where traditions are started, seeds are planted, meals are shared, stories are told, and you sing psalms and drink beer.
That's
And
right.
build economies.
I just add that. Home is where you prepare to go out into the world. Finding the home that's perfect for your family is a big job. Story Real Estate is Moscow's top real estate team. They give people real estate advice all over the country. Family homes, investments, land, new construction, or commercial. They know real estate. Remember we had Chris and Natalie
Yeah,
on.
we did.
Yeah,
We had them
if
on
you
the show.
Check out the show if you missed
A
it.
family-owned business.
Yeah, doing
In
economics.
economy? Wow.
Whoa. If you've thought about a move to Moscow or anywhere in the country, reach out and get connected with Story Real Estate. Wherever you're going, they can help guide you home. I see how they did that. Visit storyrealestate.com.
Tell them we sent you.
That's right.
Hey, we're really grateful to have with us Mr. Brandon Allen.
Speaking of real estate,
Yeah, he's senior
Yeah, senior.
mortgage loan officer with Synergy One Lending, providing residential mortgages in both Idaho and Washington State.
is that like an elder in the Mormon church? You know, elder.
I got senior when I lost my hair.
Did you?
Is that what happened?
Brandon and his wife.
Because he looked young.
His wife and two daughters are grateful to call the Palouse their home. They're heavily involved in our local Moscow community. Brandon, thanks for coming on Cross
Hey,
Politics.
thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. So, how long have you been in this particular industry, and why do mortgages matter?
Man, so 10 years in finance, 4 years in residential mortgages specifically. Mortgages matter because they're really one of the building blocks of the U.S. economy. You know, during the first segment of the show, we were talking a little bit about inflation and economics and what's going on in the industry, and mortgages play a huge role in that.
Wait, borrowing money is a building block?
Debt is one of the biggest building blocks of our U.S.-based economy. That's
Why?
right. Because it's securitized. It's like a loaf of bread. A loaf of bread goes on the shelf and then it gets purchased in the same way that a mortgage does. So mortgage gets created. Debt, the promise to repay, is valuable. That gets sold to the general public. It gets put into a form of a bond. And it's just an investment mechanism, the same way that stocks are.
Well, so why instead of borrowing the money, you just have the $400,000 and pay it yourself?
Raise your hand if you bought your house with cash.
I'm not. That's not my question.
not on my
You-
level.
You
Come
answer.
Come on.
You answer my question.
Well, I mean, historically, we've had to borrow money to buy homes, and especially in the 80s when the mortgage-backed security or the mortgage bond was created, it was really a way to stimulate the economy out of a massive recession. Right? We were dealing with massive inflation, and putting people into debt in order to buy homes and stimulate the economy through the goods and services that it takes to build a home, and all the industries that it touches, was one of the biggest building blocks of our economy now.
So maybe clarify this for me. There's bad debt and there's good debt.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Which
And
is which?
There is a lot of mixed opinions on this. I would say that good debt is anything that you're purchasing that's an asset. Now, others would say that bad debt is anything that you're purchasing with debt that doesn't cash flow back to you. So there's a different train of thought there.
So debt with asset. Explain that.
So if let's say you purchase a car, right? That car is a liability. There's two reasons for that. Yeah, it does provide you the ability to travel to and from and go to work and make more money. However, it's a depreciating asset. So the cars aren't going to be worth more 5 years from now than what they were when you bought it.
This is a
Worth
Tesla.
less, except for my
Exactly.
K5 Blazer.
Except for the Blazer. Come on.
Yes, sir. Come on now. Come on now. That's
Don't
right.
encourage him, Brandon.
That's right.
So help me understand.
gone up.
So one of the things that I've seen right now, I think David Bonson talks about this, that if we don't work, we suffer. That's given. So we got to work right now. So he's not so scared of inflation. He's more concerned about deflation in one sense. But if we don't work, we suffer. Also, the other thing is he says we need to deregulate things so that people can get involved in the economy and find the surprise part of the economy that creates ingenuity. But if it's regulated, nobody wants to get inside of it. Go
ahead.
Okay. So my question though is there a with the mortgage industry being so federally regulated, is there any way for it to have free market enterprise that can change the setup and create lower interest rates? That's kind of
two different questions there, but I'm a huge fan
maybe
of deregulation.
3 or 4.
Maybe.
I was counting.
There's a whole segment there.
I just threw them all in there to see if you like gumbo.
And answer it in less than 10 words.
There we go.
Just go, Brandon.
There is the regulations that govern. Let's go.
You said let's go, Brandon.
Come on. The regulations that govern mortgages right now are an actual blessing to the consumer.
What?
And
The regulations that govern mortgages right now are a blessing to the consumer.
They are.
Okay, explain.
Greedy people led us into the largest recession that our country has seen since the Great Depression.
And you're talking
right?
07, 08.
07, 08,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Housing collapse, and then the recession hit.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, the regulations that came out of that, I mean, that destroyed our economy. My family, personally, we lost our business, we lost our house, we moved into a trailer. It just changed everything. We all know people that were impacted by that.
Wow.
The regulations that are governing mortgages now create a transparent system for consumers to access debt in the largest amount of debt that they'll probably ever take on. So, yes, I'm a huge fan of deregulation in a lot of ways. The mortgage industry right now is governed in a way that's building debt-based economy in a good way, in a way that protects us.
But don't we let private banks adjust when they do something dumb instead of the government coming in? I mean, isn't that the better scenario? If something, if the private market does something stupid and then it has to correct itself,
Unless it's a crime of some sort.
But here's the thing.
well, but then that's where the government comes in. I don't think the government should come in and regulate. The government should be like, yeah, you're an idiot, and pay your crime.
Eat it.
There's no way. The banks spent themselves into oblivion in 2008, leading up to 2008, right? And it caused the government to have to print trillions of dollars to bail them out.
They didn't have to do that.
But they chose to, and they will continue over and over again the same way that we did it in 2020 and 2021.
Right. And I think that's a bad recipe.
Is that not
100%.
So obviously I can see some short-term helpfulness in bailing the bailout type
Sure.
But is that long-term sustainable?
It is not. And we saw it again, actually. We're dealing with it right now with inflation.
Right. So that's I guess maybe that's I think
What specifically are we doing with inflation?
We printed, okay, so the government in COVID sent us into shutdown, sent us into a micro recession, right?
Yep.
They decided to pull out their Band-Aid and print it, all that money every
$5
single
trillion.
month, $5 trillion
right.
from 2020 to 2022.
Okay.
And then they said, oh, shoot, we printed too much money.
Yeah.
And now we're heading into another recession. Right now we're heading into another recession, and they can't print their way out of this one. They're going to have to let it run its course.
Why? Yeah.
Because they already took their Band-Aid out of the pocket.
They already
and
played their
bled through
cards.
it.
Okay.
The cards that they have.
So if we're walking into another recession, you're a lot clearer than Yellen, by the way. Maybe you should run for
I know,
Secretary
right?
of Treasury,
Facts.
right?
Yeah,
You ever thought about getting into politics?
For real.
She was like,
Russia, Ukraine.
Yeah, exactly. Boogeyman.
So we're headed into recession. What do you tell Christians in this moment when we're heading into recession?
Recession doesn't mean housing collapse.
Okay.
Right? We're severely short on housing right now. We still have the supply-demand factors are still going to increase home values. So buying a home, buying real estate is still a really safe bet. And I don't say that because I'm in the industry. Some people shouldn't buy a house right now.
Right.
Flat out, you just shouldn't do it.
Right.
But buying a house right now is still a good play.
And again, that's because it's a real asset. It will retain its value over time. It can also potentially be productive and have a return.
That's right.
But I'd also even argue. Actually, Dave Bonson was arguing this today in his divided dividend cafe is what it was.
Yeah,
what it was.
yeah.
Divided cafe.
Divided cafe.
You're welcome.
I know,
David.
Yeah, Yellen, Russia, Ukraine, whatever. Is that, I mean, buying a house is absolutely an asset, but to our previous segment, it's where we grow our economy. It's where we grow
That's a
our
good
family
point.
and everything. And so if I buy a house, let's say for $400,000, and let's say the market drops a little bit. Let's say it drops a lot. Let's say it goes down to $300,000.
Yeah.
I don't care because I'm investing in my family. I'm investing in building this location. I'm investing
It's
in
more
like
than one
it's
investment.
way
It's a
more. Of course,
multi-investment
I
setup.
want it to go
That's a
up,
good
but
point,
it's not.
Gabe.
I'm not like losing money in that moment. Now, if I went to sell the house, then I'd lose money for sure.
Right, sure.
But I'm building.
That's really good, Gabe. But I really don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to Brandon.
All right,
So,
all right.
Brandon, let me ask you a
We'll
question.
interview you sometime.
Yeah, no. Sometimes schedule me on the
I
show.
was looking
Okay.
forward to the fight.
So then, what is? How long is this going to last? This recession, and what is going to be the fallout of it?
Yeah, great question. There's no crystal ball to know when we're going to pull out of it. I think inflation's a huge issue, right? Cost of goods is going up exponentially. We saw the housing prices increase, and that created affordability challenges. Now we're going to see it everywhere else. We're already feeling it in gas prices. We're seeing baby food shortages. I mean, come on.
Well, and I talked to my
2022.
farmer friends in California, and like they projected a lot of expenses to go up maybe 10%.
Yeah.
Some of their herbicides, pesticides, some of their needed
that
stuff
is
is going up
Russia.
like 1,000%.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable some of the pricing that's coming in. This is why I think Yellen and the Biden administration. Me and Knox, we talked about this earlier. This is why I think the Yellen and Biden administration is talking about inflation now. People have been complaining about it for months, and now Yellen just finally admits that she's wrong.
Oh, because people are feeling
It's
it.
because they know it's going to get a lot worse.
So what do you do? What is a Christian to do right now? You say buy a house would probably be a good thing, and do it before the interest rates probably go sky high.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we're starting to see some wavering in interest rates. They've been consistently going up for 6 months. In the last 10 days, as of today, right, we've seen a 10-day decrease in interest rates.
It's because the government, right?
I mean, yeah, thank you, government.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, buy within your means. Make sure that if your employment is based upon an industry that wavers with the S&P and the Dow and the NASDAQ as those mechanisms increase and decrease in value. I mean, if the Dow goes down or the S&P goes down 30%, are you going to be laid off from your job? Right. Maybe now's not the time to buy.
Yeah, be careful. Be wise.
Be wise.
Yeah, but then you got an interest rate that's 12%.
No, because interest rates go down in recessions. Interest rates go down.
Can they afford to do that right now, though?
But who's driving interest rates? That's a question we haven't talked about.
All right, that's where I want to go.
I've got a question.
That's where I want to go.
Who is driving interest rates?
The government.
The consumer, the investors.
How?
Bonds and stocks typically work inverse to each other. Stock market goes up, bond market goes down. Bonds are just ownership pieces of debt.
Right.
Right? Investors, when the stock market goes down, they're going to put their money back into bonds as a longer term safe play.
Right.
Smaller rate of return.
Right.
It's going to drive bond prices up. So if we think about that bread analogy, bread on the shelves, everybody's going out and buying bonds, which is what the government was doing for the last 2 years. Drove bond prices sky high with funny money. That's what drove interest rates down. Now that the government has basically pulled their hand, the Fed specifically has pulled their hand off of bonds and started to put their bread back onto the shelves.
They're starting to sell bonds.
That's exactly right. They're starting to get the bonds out of their holdings. That's what's decreasing their balance sheet means. When you hear Janet Yellen talk about decreasing the balance sheet, it means, hey, we don't want to hold on to these mortgages. We want to put them back in the hands of the consumer. That's what's driving rates up because there's more supply.
Sounds like the government's affecting mortgage rates.
They are, but
I'm just saying.
However, there's no mechanism.
But but you're saying, so with that supply going up, then do we have, given all the rest of the context where we're in, are you thinking there's a high likelihood that they're going to be purchased?
Correct.
And that will drive the prices back down?
Rates will go down, price of bonds will go up.
Prices will go up because there's more demand for them.
Exactly right.
But that in turn will then cause interest rates to go down.
That's exactly right. Yeah, 12 to 16 months from now, we'll see interest rates go back down. Maybe
what are they right now, Brandon?
Low fives. Yeah, low to mid fives.
Okay. But you think
which is incredibly low, actually.
Still pretty low.
I wish everybody had that perspective.
We got used to we got down to 3%, which is incredible. 2.74 or whatever was incredible. But 5% is incredibly low.
I remember talking to my father-in-law. I think they bought their first house with like 12%.
Yeah,
I thought they were doing amazing.
Yeah.
Brandon, is there a website that people can go to check out your company and what you guys do and maybe use your services?
Yeah, absolutely. Go check us out on Instagram at A-Team Home Loans, and a link to our website's in there.
A-Team?
A-Team Home Loans.
A-Team. Like Mr. T. A-Team.
All right. Oh, wow, man. Okay, we're going to stick around. We're going to do backstage with, because I still don't think that this is.
No, I got some more questions. I'm not worked out here. We aren't
beer and some. Cheers to the king. Cheers to the king.
Beer songs Wednesday.
Cheers.
Cheers. And with coffee. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic.
Brandon's got a great haircut, too.
I love his haircut.
Come on, baby.
That's it.
This is
where Dave and I plan this year's company holidays.
Let's go through the list.
Easter.
Too religious.
St. Patrick's Day.
Too white.
Mother's Day.
Way too cisgendered.
All of your usual holidays have been canceled this year.
But we still have Karl Marx's birthday!
Need a real reason to party? Find a new job at redballoon.work.
When tyrants take over, what's the first thing they do? Disarm. It happened in Russia, China, Germany, and most recently, Afghanistan. Why? Because disarmed people are easier to control. And over the last century and a half, American tyrants have been carrying out a slow, methodical disarmament that no one is talking about. State education. Tyrants know that education is warfare. Our rulers have a vested interest in making you totally harmless. They've got big plans and they don't want you getting in the way. Think about it. Would you rather fight an army decked out with high-powered rifles or a bunch of dinky water pistols? They know that if you can think critically, you're a threat. At New St. Andrews College, we want to graduate men and women who are dangerous. Dangerous to the world, dangerous to the principalities and powers, dangerous to spiritual wickedness in high places. Education can either arm you or disarm you. It can make you a threat or make you a useful idiot. So, where you get that education counts. Click the link to apply to New St. Andrews College today.